Hello, warriors. Today we are talking about evaluating expressions. As we learned in lesson 1, an expression is like a number sentence, but without an equal sign. And one really important word that you should see quite a bit in math is evaluate, and the root word is value. So evaluate means find the value of the expression. There are a couple things we need to review before we jump into evaluating expressions. And PEMDAS, which its real name is Order of Operations. So PEMDAS tells you the order that you need to do when you are going to evaluate an expression, when you're going to evaluate a math problem. P stands for parentheses. I'm going to zoom in so I have more space to write here. Remember, you can zoom in using your fingers just like you do on a phone. So P stands for parentheses. And as you know, these are what parentheses look like. And whatever is inside the parentheses, that's what you do first. E stands for exponent. Which would be like 3 to the second power. And remember, when you have an exponent, you have that little number that is higher and to the right of the base number. That means multiply the base number that many times. So 3 to the second power means 3 times 3. And then next, we multiply. I don't have room to write out multiply, so I'm going to just write the symbols. We multiply and divide. And make a note to yourself that you do this, the multiply and divide, in the same step. And you have to go from left to right. And then the last two, addition and subtraction, also you do in the same step, also from left to right. And remember, in a video, if you need to, you can pause it at any time to fill in if you need more time to write. Now we're ready to actually talk about how we evaluate expressions. We use what's called the substitution property. Its fancy definition is if A equals B, then A may be replaced for B in any expression. What we will be doing is we will replace the variable with a number. So we're going to replace whatever they tell us the variable is, with some number. Whatever they tell us the number is. Here's our first example. They tell us to evaluate b squared plus c. And they tell us a equals 2, b equals 4, and c equals 7. I'm going to show you an obnoxious jingle from when I was younger. I don't know if they still play this on commercials anymore, but anytime I hear substitution, I think about a Glade plugin. So I hope this song gets stuck in your head to help you remember what it means to substitute. When you substitute, you plug in a number for the letter. So I'm not advertising Glade plugins, but I want you to remember, plug it in, plug it in. Anytime you see the word substitution, you have to plug in the number wherever the variable was. Before I start plugging in numbers, I want to look more closely at what our letters actually mean. So I have A and B, and remember when you have a letter or two letters right beside each other, that means multiplication. So this means A times B squared plus C. They told me that A needs to be 2, so I plug in the 2 where A goes, times, they tell me that B needs to be 4, so I plug in the 4 where B goes. I need to keep the exponent, plus, they told me that C needs to be 7, so I plug in 7 where the C goes. So when you evaluate an expression, when you're given an expression with variables, and you're told what those variables equal as their number, you plug in the numbers, and then you use order of operations to solve it. So based on order of operations, I look and I don't see any parentheses. So remember, we have it at the top of our paper. So I go to exponents, and I do have one exponent, 4 squared. 4 squared means 4 times 4. If you did not know that, write that out to the side to help you remember. So 4 squared means 4 times 4, which is 16. And then I bring down the rest of my problem. 2 times 16 plus 7. Now I'm out of space, so I'm going to continue here. Next, I do multiplication and division, and I see I have multiplication right there, 2 times 16. And 2 times 16 is 32. So I did the 2 times 16 part. And then I have plus 7. And then add or subtract, all that's left is addition. So I add 32 plus 7, and I will get 39. So our first step, we plugged in the numbers where the variables went. And then we evaluated using PEMDAS. This is a very important skill in algebra because it will help us to check our equations as we're solving equations. And then this says the most important rule in algebra. I think it's probably the second most important rule in algebra. The most important rule is opposite operations to both sides. But this rule will also help you. When you are substituting, put parentheses around the negative numbers. That's what the second space is, numbers. Put parentheses around the negative numbers when substituting them into the expression. So this next example, we wanted to give you a different, just a different person's view of how to explain this. So my son, Logan, who is an 8th grader, he is going to walk you through this example in the next video.